I'm Zach Booth. I am 21 years old and I go to the University of Southern Mississippi. I went to most of high school at Vicksburg Catholic School, St. Aloysius High, and then for my senior year I transferred to the public school, the district I was in, Vicksburg High School.
Okay. What we're doing here today is documenting stories of real people in Mississippi that identify as LGBT or identify as an ally, and I'm just wondering, is there any identity that you have that you want to share?
Identify as gay.
Okay. What is it like to be a gay 21-year-old in Mississippi?
Well, it certainly is interesting. It really was a long process getting to that point where I just expect to be out. It doesn't even occur to me to hide it in the overwhelming majority of situations there, but now pretty much it would be the norm for me to just be completely comfortable with letting people know, and really the exception to try and hide it or downplay it for any reason. Well, I want to say the process started as soon as I knew I was gay.
Which was when?
13, 14. I mean, and at first, of course, I wasn't heading towards being out. I wanted to put myself as far in the closet as possible.
Why?
Being gay just wasn't something that before, I realized I was gay. It just wasn't the sort of thing you thought about being. Being gay was something. It was just like any of the other insults in elementary school. It's just something bad that you wouldn't seriously think of yourself being. You wouldn't think of yourself being, a jerk, an idiot, a suck up, anything like that. You just don't think of yourself as being gay. Some people just flat didn't talk to me anymore. Once I remember it was one particular day, and I told someone I was pretty close to about me being gay because, for one, he was very close to me, and my mom wondered if he wasn't gay. And I hadn't really thought about that, but I thought, well, if he is, I'd want to know, and if he isn't, I think I owe it to him to know that, that he knows. I mean, we were pretty good friends, and he didn't react entirely maturely, but didn't react entirely immaturely either. He told some of his friends that aren't the sort to spread gossip, and I hadn't told him he could do that, but after he'd done that I was like, you know what, tell whoever you want. I just wish you wouldn't go out of your way to tell people for no reason, but if someone asks you, whatever, just say it if you want to. And someone asked him like 2 weeks later he was on the baseball team, someone asked him 2 weeks later on the baseball bus, knowing he was sort of friends with me, was I gay? And I told him, well, you can tell people, so he did, and he told the truth. And of course it didn't stay on the baseball bus, everyone has cell phones. It got texted back to the school in pretty short order. And I remember, my friend texted me to tell me that he had told me. And I remember some people in the cafeteria looking at their cell phones, like looking over to find me, and like just looking at me like it really wasn't the end of the world. Like I said, I was sort of on the fringes of social life there anyway. I imagine had I played for the football team and dated, some prominent cheerleader, I imagine it might have caused a bit more stir, but I was already that kind of odd kid, so I just continued getting odder, I imagine, to many of them. And after that, I transferred to the public school, and not for that reason. Most of my friends went to the public school anyway. Everyone was pretty much nice at Vicksburg Catholic schools, but none of them I was really close friends with. So I transferred to the public school, and by then,
So you were a senior?
I was a senior, yes, for my last year. And by then, I'd read enough about what sort of things you could do if you were sort of activist-y. And I was like, hey, I'm at a public school now. I could start a gay-straight alliance. and so I definitely tried. I went to some website, found out the sorts of things you generally do to start a club, talked to the administration, didn't tell them what sort of club, asked them what I needed to do. I filled out the paperwork the school needed, put the signatures, the letter saying that Miss Romeo would sponsor the club, and I gave it to the principal. He looked at it and said, okay. And I didn't hear anything about it for a while, and I'm not quite familiar with a lot of stuff happened during that time with the club. Right about the time the newspaper ran out was when everyone knew, because I mean it made the front page of the paper, and yeah, for Vicksburg, Mississippi, that was a big deal. Some of the letters to the editor were particularly ugly, but people within the school seemed to know it was me, or at least know my name. But I was new that year. I was relatively unknown, you know. So actually most of the nastiness did not come toward me. Where the nastiness went was the teacher sponsor. She got notes slipped under her door telling her to go die, you dyke. She got fired from a job at her church where she was choir master for something she didn't even do at church on church time. She got fired. So eventually we had to quit because she didn't feel like she could be the club sponsor.